Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki 10.74.3 Evam Adini Abhadrani Evam Adini Abhadrani Evam Adini Abhadrani Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Evam Adini Abhadrani Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Novacha Kinchit Bhagavan Evam Adini Abhadrani Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Novacha Kinchit Bhagavan Yatha Simha Shiva Rutam Evam Adini Abhadrani Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Novacha Kinchid Bhagavan Yatha Simha Shivarutam Yatha Simha Shivarutam Evam Adini Abhadrani Babhashe Nashta Mangalaha Novacha Kinchid Bhagavan Yatha Simha Shivarutam
Adini and more Avadrani harsh words Babhashe he spoke Nashta ruined Mangalaha for good fortune Na uvacha he did not say Kinchit anything Bhagavan the Supreme Lord just as Simha a lion Siva of a jackal Rutam cry Sukadeva Goswami continued,
Goswami continued,
bereft of all good fortune,
bereft of all good fortune,
Śiśupāla spoke these and other insults, but the Supreme Lord said nothing, just as a lion ignores a jackal's cry.
Evamadini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchita bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam Evam adini abhadrani Babasena sita mangalaha Novacha kinchit bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam Evam adini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchita bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam
Evam adini abhadrani Babase nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchit bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam
Evam adini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchit bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam
Evam adini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchita bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam Evam adini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchit bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam Evam adini abhadrani Babashe nashta mangalaha Novacha kinchit bhagavan Yata simha shivarutam. Prabhu, there is no purport in this verse here in the Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada has written few lines relating to this verse in the Krishna book. So I am going to read those lines and then we will start the discussion. So this is chapter number 74 in Krishna book part 2. So Śiśupāla went crazy because of Krishna's being elected the supreme, the first worshipped person in that meeting, and he spoke so irresponsibly that it appeared that he had lost all his good fortune. Being overcast with misfortune, Śiśupāla continued to insult Krishna, and Lord Krishna patiently heard him without protest. Just as a lion does not care when a flock of jackals howl, Lord Krishna remained silent and unprovoked. Krishna did not reply to even a single accusation made by Śiśupāla, but all the members present in the meeting, except for a few who agreed with Śiśupāla, were very much agitated because it is the duty of any respectable person not to tolerate blasphemy against God or his devotee. Some of them, who thought that they could not properly take action against Śiśupāla, left the assembly in protest, covering their ears with their hands in order not to hear further accusations. Thus they left the meeting condemning the action of Śiśupāla. It is the Vedic injunction that whenever there is a blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one must immediately leave. If he does not do so, he becomes bereft of his pious activities and is degraded to a lower condition of life. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Jnana-timirandhasya
Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunidhamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dati Sarpadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Bhagavatam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Varijasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Raghunatham Shri Vishāpāla He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Varevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
So Shukdev Goswami continued, bereft of all good fortune, Śiśupāla spoke these and other insults. But the Supreme Lord said nothing, just as a lion ignores a jackal's cry. Hare Krishna Prabhuji Mataji. So in the background of this verse, we know that once Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja organized a big sacrifice, Rājasūya sacrifice, and as a part of the ritual of the sacrifice, the people who were assembled there, they had to decide that who should be the first one to be worshipped. So the matter was left on the assembly, and they were discussing the matter among themselves. There was no conclusion. So Sahadeva, who seems to be youngest in the assembly, he stood up and spoke that in my opinion, Lord Krishna should be the first one to be worshipped. And he gave the justification why Lord Krishna should be worshipped. And he says, since we have assembled here to perform a sacrifice, and the deities who are meant to be pleased during the sacrifice, all those deities, they are present in Krishna. Krishna as a super soul is present in the heart of all the living entities. We are able to organize this sacrifice by the mercy of Krishna. Whatever results, pious results we are going to get out of this sacrifice, those will again from the mercy of Krishna. And finally he says that if we worship Krishna, then all the living entities are automatically worshipped. So everybody applauded, everybody was happy, and everybody agreed except a few people. And Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja was also very much happy, and immediately he arranged a Padabhishekam ceremony, so the Lord Krishna's lotus feet were washed. Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja was in great ecstasy after having touched the lotus feet of Krishna. And while the ceremony was being performed, everybody was standing and watching the ceremony. But Śiśupāla, he was envious of Krishna. And in the past also, like due to the Rukmani incident, he did not like Krishna. He did not get up, he remained seated. And as he was watching the ceremony where Lord Krishna's lotus feet were being worshipped, his envy nature started, aggravating in the heart, right? And finally he couldn't tolerate it. And then he stood up and he spoke very insulting words against Krishna in the front of everybody present there. And he said, certainly this is true, that the time has a great influence. And just because of the time influence, there are so many learned people in the assembly, the intelligence of those people has been taken away by the words of such a young boy. Otherwise, in the assembly, we have so many learned sages, we have so many people who have performed so many austerities, penances, and they are able to deliver so many other living entities because of their austerity and penance. So why those people should not be worshipped? Why this boy should be worshipped? Boy means Krishna. And he says, Kul Pansana. Kul Pansana means he is a disgrace to his family. That's how we address the Lord. And he said, not only this, we don't know what varnashrama dharma he belongs to. He is a Brahmana. Śiśupāla continued and he said, we do not know what varnashrama dharma he belongs to. He does not have any qualities. And that's how he went on criticizing Śiśupāla. And then in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there are 6 verses, verse number 38 to 43, the same chapter. So those verses tell us how did Krishna and other people deal with the criticism, deal with the insulting words. So the first it talks about the Krishna who himself was insulted. So it is said very clearly that no vacha kinchid, Bhagavan. No vacha na uvacha kinchid. Na means not, uvacha spoke, kinchid no bilkul bhi. Mala Krishna Bhagavan did not speak even a single word. And it says, evam adini. Evam means this. Adini means बहुत कुछ बोला उसने. ये तो सिर्फ sample दिया गया भागवतम में. But Śiśupāla spoke much more than this. And despite hearing all these words, Lord Krishna did not speak anything. But there were other people. We heard from Srila Prabhupada that there were other people who could not tolerate the blasphemy of Krishna. So they covered their ears because they did not want to hear anymore his blasphemy. And even after covering their ears, still some sound will go into the ears, right? Whatever you do. They couldn't tolerate even the vibration that, okay, we are sitting in a place where Krishna has been criticized. So finally they decided to leave the place. And although it's not proper to leave the place where the sacrifice is performed without the sacrifice is completed, but still the Shastra says that if you are in a place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the devotees or gurus are being criticized, you should try to defend, you should argue with them, right? If you are under a position, then you should leave the place. And you can't do any of these things, then you commit suicide, you give up your life. So they were not able to argue, they did not want to give up their life, so they decided, they chose to leave the place, and they left the place. But Pandavas, they could not leave the place, right? And they got very angry. And as a Kshatriya, their blood started boiling and they wanted to take Śiśupāla and kill him. But Lord Krishna stopped them. Okay, don't do anything. Don't react. Right? Keep quiet. But Śiśupāla, he was bereft of all the good fortune. Usko samajh bhi nahi tha kya kar raha hu main abhi. So instead of trying to think what he has done, what wrong he has done, and how he should be dealing with the Lord and the devotees, and particularly in the front of everybody, he took out his sword and he wanted to attack the people, the Pandavas. And that time, Lord Krishna could not remain silent. And immediately he used his Sudarshana disc through the disc, and the Śiśupāla was killed. And here, Lord Krishna, he used a disc. See, just now we read, no vacha kinchid Bhagavan. Lord Krishna did not speak even a single word, right? Despite hearing so many insults. There was no reaction. So why did he throw the Sudarshan disc all of a sudden? Not because of him. He wanted to protect his devotees, right? That was the reason. Not for himself, right? He was not affected by the insult. And another thing, if the battle would have started, if the fight would have started on the sacrificial arena, then with the drop of blood, the place would have got contaminated. So Lord Krishna used the Sudarshan Chakra in such a manner that not even a single drop of blood fell on the ground. So place remained sanctified. So with this incident, we learn a bit that how should we deal with the criticism when somebody is criticizing you and somebody is criticizing others. On the first day of the new year, we discussed about the criticism, right? And we said we will do the second part and how to deal with the criticism. So today we will talk about few things related to dealing with the criticism from the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So as I mentioned that time that once Giriraj Maharaj Swami, he was talking about that there are 5 kinds of people and you happen to meet 5 kinds of people. The first you meet with the people who always sees only bad in others. And they see bad in the others because of their liking and disliking. It's not that the person is bad or there are bad qualities in the person. Simply you don't like the person, so whatever the person does, you think that's a bad, right? So that's the first category of person. The second category of person, he will see the good as well as bad. But consciously, he or she would ignore the good things and focus on the bad things. Third category of person, that they would see good as well as bad. But they would remain neutral, right? They would try to reconcile the situation. Acha isne aisa kiya, acha chalo isne aisa bhi kiya hai na. And many times we are the saying if you want to milk the cow, then you have to bear the kicks also, right? ठीक है उसने ऐसा किया तो उसने ऐसा भी किया, right? So you are neutral. And then fourth category of the people. So fourth category of people, they would see good as well as bad, but they would consciously ignore the bad things and focus only on the good things. And fifth category of person, they would see only the good, don't see any bad. So in this world, we find most of the people, including ourselves, in the category of first, or then go to the second, or go to the third. And the fourth category we see, Prabhupada is there, and the Guru Maharaj and spiritual masters are there, who would see good and bad, and consciously they would ignore bad and focus only good. Otherwise, we won't be able to get the initiation, right? If the Maharaj start pointing out, okay, tune ye kiya, oh, give me the account of all this. Okay, then, where is the initiation, right? And we know all of our own cases, your own gone cases, rejected cases, right? Still Maharaj accepted us, not with us, with everybody. And fifth category is Lord Krishna. Nobody can reach up to his category. So Maharaj was telling that we are in category 1, 2, 3. We should aspire to reach, most of us are in category 1, who only see the bad, right? And criticize others. So we should move from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and try to go to 4, which is very, very difficult and impossible, right? But still, we should aspire. So when the people, they criticize, it becomes painful, right? Due to our own nature. And it becomes more painful when you know that you don't deserve the criticism. So then what should we do? So we will see from the pages of Bhagavatam, like how the devotees have dealt with the criticism. And we will read a few lines, what Prabhupada has spoken in this regard. So in general, whenever we hear the criticism about us from anyone, the very first thing we should do, although it's difficult, we should thank the person who is criticizing us. And not only the spiritual world, even the material world, it's a common, and one thing I've realized that whenever I hear a negative comment from any client, the first response, thank you very much for sharing your concern. I'll get back to you. So as soon as you thank the person calms down, right? You are putting a cap on that person. He won't create any more ill feeling against you, right or no? And then when you say, I will reward, you are getting a time to introspect. And finally, third thing, after introspection, you may find the criticism was right. Fine, you reply, revert back. Further to my communication, I realized this should have been done. So I have adjusted it, and now this is the revised thing, right? And if it is not true, then again accordingly, you can respond, this is what, thank you very much again, and this is what we have done without hurting the person. But all these things, doing these things, first we have to check ourselves. It requires, first thing, in terms of dealing with the criticism, we should be able to tolerate the situation. And we learn from Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam a lot about the tolerance. In the Bhagavad Gita, the first instruction from Krishna is about the tolerance. Or rather, the first thing what Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita, it's a sarcastic criticism. Right? It's sarcasm. Ashocyan anvashochast pragyavada shabhaste. Right? Gatasu nanu shochindu pandita. You are speaking like a learned man, but you are lamenting for the people who are not worthy to be lamented. You don't know even these things, that you shouldn't be lamenting like this. Right? So criticizing, but again with a sarcasm, it's more painful, right? Direct criticism is one thing, sarcasm, again it becomes more painful. And then next two verses, those verses are spoken by Krishna, but that's a knowledge. That's not the instruction. Because Arjuna says, okay, Gatasuna, why I shouldn't be lamenting? So then Krishna says, remember, that you are just looking at the body, but they are all souls. Nat vivaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadipa. Okay, there was not even a time, there was no time where either these people or you or I were not present. They were always present. And while they are present, they are simply changing the body every time. Like boy to youth, and then youth to old age. And after old age, you get to the new body. Arjuna says, okay, I can't see the soul, I can just see the body, what they are in front of me. So then Krishna says, Matra sparshastu kante, shitoshna shugadukda, agama paino anityastams, titikshasva bharata. That is the first instruction of Lord Krishna in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, right? That tolerate. Tolerate what? Tolerate any kind of distress or happiness. Any kind of distress or happiness. We can have several types of distress and happiness. We get the fever, we are in distress. Lose the job, we are in distress, right? House problem, distress. Children education, distress. So many distress, right? And Krishna says, all these distresses, they are not permanent. They are temporary. They are temporary. They will come and go. So simply you need to tolerate it. And the distress, as we discussed, when somebody criticizes you, then again, you are faced with a distressful situation. So, if we have read the Bhagavad Gita and we always remember this verse, then first thing we should try to tolerate it, right? But again, to tolerate, you should have some thoughts in the mind, because your mind, it doesn't allow to tolerate, right? So Krishna has given the solution, this the same verse, right? How to tolerate? Think that it is temporary, right? This is not going to last forever. That criticism, what people are, the people who are criticizing me, right? They themselves are temporary. Forget the criticism, they themselves are temporary. And even this criticism is also temporary. And one more thing, when the people they criticize, most of the times, they talk about their opinion, not the fact. And both are different. We will see again from the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada said, some verses. Both are different. There is a difference between the fact and opinion. Fact, everybody would agree. Nobody will deny. Now it's a day, it's a fact, right? Nobody can deny. But opinion, different people will have different opinion. And the opinion may change. So what happens? You should always think that this person, okay, he's criticizing me, but he's talking about himself, not about me. Because that is his opinion. It's not a fact. So why should I get upset with his opinion, which is he himself or her himself, right? Why should I get affected? Like see in this particular instance, one side, there were people like Sahadev who were praising Lord Krishna like anything. But other side, it was like Śiśupāla, right? So both had their own opinion. But still there was a fact, right? But you can see that there can be two kinds of people where they made their own opinion. And that's why Lord Krishna, it did not bother him. But again, see, Lord Krishna's position is very high. We can't compare ourselves with him. But he completely remained silent. And one more thing, when somebody is criticizing us, so we know that these are the opinions, right? So one person is criticizing, but not necessarily other person is also criticizing you, right? Like in this assembly, Śiśupāla was criticizing, but all others was not criticizing. So we should also contemplate that, okay, what about this is the opinion or this is the fact? Okay, this is the opinion of this person, and what about the opinion of other person, right? Okay, then you take it easy. So when you think like this, then it helps you to tolerate the criticism. And then the second thing, we should not react to the situation. Now defensiveness, it is said that defensiveness validates accusation. As soon as you speak in defense, it validates accusation that what the other person is speaking, the opinion seems to be true. And again you get a sense of guilty that I think this person's opinion is true. So Lord Krishna did not defend. He could have defended, right? Other people wanted to defend. He checked them. No, don't defend them. In case of Parikshit Maharaj, we know not only Shringi Rishi spoke ill words about him. I think I don't remember exactly what words he used. He said, the dogs and crows. He spoke such ill words about Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, although he was upset, that okay, I reached to the sage's house, I am so tired, right? He did not give me any asan. Forget the asan, he did not give me any place to sit. Forget that he did not give me any water. Forget that he did not speak even the sweet words, He completely insulted me. And while he was contemplating, he got to know that he has been cursed. But still, there was no reaction. He did not react. Simply he went to the banks of Ganges river and sat down for 7 days. And then Shamik Rishi, he speaks a nice verse to his son, that because son was worried, son he realized that I think he has done something wrong. And Parikshit Maharaj was also very powerful. Shamik Rishi told his son, that Tiriskrita Vipralabdha Shapta Shipta Atapi Nasetat Prati Kurvanti Mad Bhakta Prabhuvapi. Although I have the power, Prabhuvapi, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam said, don't react. If I don't react, people will think that I am weak. You are right, I am wrong. I am weak, right? And the person will continue to do like this. No, Mad Bhakta, if you are a devotee of Lord Krishna, although you have the power, Mad Bhakta Prabhuvapi, my devotees, although they have the powers, still they don't react. Or if you are my devotee, then don't react. And if you react, then we are not Krishna's devotees. That's what it means. Tiriskrata, that Tiriskrata means defamed, Vipralabdha, cheated. And Shapta, cursed, like, he was cursed. Shipta means you are negligent, and Hata means you are getting even killed. Right? So, then the second thing, don't react. And third thing, if still we can't tolerate, and we have the opportunity to leave the place. Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard the curse, right, he was not on the spot, right? It was not spoken in front of him. He had come back to his palace. So, he was there, he couldn't leave the place. But, we have the instance of, Vidura Maharaja. So, Vidura was invited by Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra said, okay, come and, give me some advice. And Vidura, he was very much honest. So, first advice, okay, return the legitimate kingdom to Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja. And he said, you don't know how much suffering he is going through. Those sufferings are totally unbearable. But Dhritarashtra did not move at all. Vidura was a very diplomatic person. He was trying to arouse compassion in the heart of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra did not bother. And then second he said that, he is Ajata Shatru, he is no enemy. But you should remember that he has got 4 his brothers, and of the 4 brothers, the Bhima is so much angry like a beaten snake. So be afraid of him. Dhritarashtra was not moved at all. Then Vidura reminded him that, okay, forget Bhima. You know about Krishna? He is so much powerful, he is Bhagwan himself. Dhritarashtra did not move. He said, forget Krishna. All the worldly kings are with him. Nothing happened to Dhritarashtra. And finally, he came to the point. And then he said that you are maintaining offense personified, apatya, that you have a son, is not worthy of being called a son. And as a son, he should be giving the protection at least after death. But you won't be able to get the protection because when he goes to Gaya, he has to offer the sacrifice to Vishnu. And he has already made Vishnu his enemy. So what is he going to do? In this life, he is bringing ill fortune to you. And even the next life, he is going to bring ill fortune for you. So you should abandon him immediately. And when Duryodhana heard it, he was very much angry. See the difference between a devotee and non-devotee. As soon as he heard it, first thing, okay, who brought him here? And then Dasya means straight, he is hitting his mother, right? भाई गलती मैंने करी, तुम मेरे बारे में बोलो, मेरी माँ के बारे में क्यों बोल रहे हो ना, राइट? तो दास्यस होता है, ये तो दासी पुत्र है ना ये. एंड देन यद बलिना एव पुष्ट, यद बलिना कि बाय हु सब्सटेनेंस, कि हम इसको खाने के लिए पैसे दे रहे हैं, हमारे पैसों से हमारे पैसों में खा पी के बड़ा हुआ. एंड परकृत्य कि जो पर मतलब दूसरे कृत्य कि जो दूसरे लोग उनके बारे में बता रहे हैं हमको. एंड निर्वास्य, ये मुझे बाहर निकालने के लिए बोलता है, तुम इसको बाहर करो सबसे पहले तो. एंड देन श्वसानः, कैसे इसको बाहर निकालो, क्या सिर्फ उसके सांस रहनी चाहिए उसकी, राइट? मीन्स डोंट गिव हिम एनीथिंग, जस्ट कीप हिम आउट लाइक एनीथिंग. दैट्स हाउ ही डेल्ट विद हिज इंसल्ट. एंड देन what Vidur Maharaj did, कि Duryodhana's word pierced his heart, but still Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely in the translation, he was not sorry. He was not sorry. Writes very beautiful, just the 3 words, he was not sorry. Gatavyatha, without being sorry. Why? Because again the contemplation. Contemplation was that he said it's Lord Krishna's energy who is working on both sides. He is working on the side of Duryodhana, because I wanted to save a Kaurava dynasty from destruction, but now it seems that the destruction is destined. And from my side, now this is an opportunity for me to leave this place and go for pilgrimage and purify myself. And Prabhupada writes a couple of very beautiful lines in the purport. Prabhupada says, a devotee is always in a renounced temperament. Renouncing means you renounce everything, renounce even the criticism, praise and criticism. And then he says, now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana, by the grace of Duryodhana. This is the words used for a person who criticizes him so much. And instead of being sorry at the strong words of insult, he thanked him from within. That's what I said. You hear the criticism, you thank the person from inside him, or openly also. And because it gave him the chance to live alone in a holy place and fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, because this was an opportunity for him to engage himself in the service of the Lord. So another thing, whenever focus is on serving the Lord, then criticism will not affect us. But as soon as we divert our focus from the service to the criticism, then the criticism will overtake us and we are not able to serve even the Lord also. So you tolerate the situation, don't react, and leave the place. Right? So Vidur Maharaj, he left the place, and you leave the place, and if you, Vidur Maharaj, he went for pilgrimage. But in our case, where we will go? The Kaliyuga जिधर भी जाएंगे, कुछ न कुछ तो मिलेगा सुनने के लिए, right? कुछ न कुछ तो मिलेगा सुनने के लिए. So if there is an opportunity, the Bhagavatam says us that approach the authority. Go to the authority. We have the instance of Dhruv Maharaj, very young boy, just a 5 years old boy. He saw that his stepbrother was sitting on the lap of his father. He also had the desire. Let me also go and sit in the lap of my father. There is nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. But what is that? Suruchi, when she saw that he was trying to get on the lap of her husband, she couldn't tolerate it. And she insulted Dhruv Maharaj, saying that you don't deserve to sit in the lap of your father or on the throne. But I am the son, so why can't I sit on the lap of my father? You are the son. You are the son of Tanpat, right? But you should remember that you have not taken the birth from my womb. So if you want to sit on the lap of your father, you take another birth, and that birth, you take another birth, and from that, in that birth, you should take the birth from my womb. And it's not difficult to choose our father and mother. She knew it, right? We can't choose our father and mother. But still she is giving the solution, although she was angry. What solution is bata rahi hai? You go and perform the austerity. And if Krishna is pleased, right, Lord is pleased, you will take the birth from my womb, and you may get the opportunity to sit on the lap of your father. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam tells us in the 2 words, why did she speak these words? So there are 2 reasons. It says, Sa-irsham. Sa-irsham means she was envious. She was envious. So that's the point. When you hear the criticism, when people are giving their opinion, it's not a fact. Right? it may come out as an envy, because people are envious of you. And see, this is what we understand from when we read the translation. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to sit on the lap of father. But what Suruchi is telling him, that you can't sit on the lap of your father, or you can't get even the throne also. Dhruva Maharaj ne singhasan to मांगा ही नहीं था ना उसने तो. But Suruchi had a fear in the mind. So many times when the people criticize you, it's an envy, it's an inferiority complex, or insecurity that is reflected in the criticism. Right? That's the point. Otherwise, Dhruva Maharaj to koi bole nahi Rajpat ke baare mein. But why she is talking about it? Sa Irshya. And then, second thing, Garvita. Garvita means she was proud. She had a lot of pride. Why she was proud? Because she knew that I am the preferred queen. I am the preferred queen of my husband. So, undigested appreciation results in pride. Right? When somebody appreciates, praises you, and you are not able to offer to Guru Maharaj and Krishna, then that will come out. The natural reaction is that you become proud of it. And when you are proud, then at some point it will result in criticizing others. And so here what happens? And so Dhruva Maharaj, he was insulted. He felt greatly insulted. Position was like a snake bitten by a stick. So he left the place. Like Vidura left the place. But Vidura went to the forest. Dhruva Maharaj went to the authority. For a young boy, the father and mother are the spiritual master. So when you face a criticism, you can't tolerate. You have reacted. Even after leaving the place, you do to the solace, right? Approach the authority. Approach the authority. Go to the spiritual master. Go to the devotees. Go to somebody, where you can air out. So then you approach the authority, and now in the same episode you will see what happens next time. That when someone criticizes you after you've done all these things, don't think ill about the person who has criticized you. And that's what happens in the next few verses of the 4th canto. Now the Dhruva Maharaj, he approaches the mother, he meets the mother, and the people who were in the palace, they shared the incident with the Suniti. So after Suniti, she heard what happened with her son, what was her condition. It says, Utsrajya Dharyam. She gave up the patience, she said it's unbearable. Why? Because earlier, it was on her that as a queen, if my husband doesn't like me, that's fine, no worries, I was tolerating. But now, why this such a 5 years boy, he doesn't know anything. Why didn't he allow him to be seated on the lap? What wrong he had done? That's why it was unbearable. And by thinking of that incident, she was lamenting so much, again and again, like Shoka Dava Agnina, like a forest fire, like a leaf, the dry leaf gets burned, right? And what is the condition of the burned leaf? So that was her condition. And then when somebody's lamentation is unbearable, what the person will do? He'll start crying. She started crying. And not an ordinary cry. It says while she was crying so much, the dirgham shvashanti, that she was breathing very heavily. And then vrajinasya param apashyanti. And then she said, okay, कि मुझे इसका तो कुछ, I don't see any remedy of this painful situation. So she has lost her patience, all patience she had lost. She did not see any remedy of this situation. But after hearing all this criticism and going through the situation, what she says, Ma amangalam tat pareshu mamsta bhungte jano yat para dukha das tata. Very first thing, Ma amangalam. Ma amangalam. Ma means do not. Instruction. Amangalam. Inauspicious. Pareshu mamsta. मतलब मन में भी सोचने का नहीं है. Forget reacting by speaking against the harsh words. Even in the mind, you don't think of ill fortune of the person who has criticized you. Because bhungte jano yat par dukhas var dukhdha tatayana. Bhungte jano. कि भूंगते जनो कि अगर तुम क्रिटिक को क्रिटिसाइज करोगे, Suniti is telling Dhruv Maharaj that if you criticize, if you react, then you will have to face the reaction. You will have to face a similar type of reaction, similar type of situation. Or the person we criticize, right? We have to remember that we are going to get criticized in the same manner. That's a law of reaction, action and reaction, right? So person criticizes you, you criticize, right? That's the reaction you're reacting. Then again the reaction will come back to you. Then the person reacts, the reaction will come back to him. That's called chain of action and reaction. So that has to be ended. So how it's going to be ended? Right? When somebody stops, right? When one has to stop. So that's what Suniti is telling the son. And then second thing, what she did in this situation, she accepted is a fact. Satyam avyalikam. Satyam avyalikam means they are all factual. In the beginning, what I said, that there is a difference between fact and opinion. Rājasūya Yajña, the people who are speaking, that was their opinion, right? Two parties, their opinion. Here, this is the fact. She said, yeah, this is the fact that you have not taken the birth from my womb. This is the fact that I am not the preferred queen of my husband. So she accepted the fact. And then she says, Vimatsara. Then don't be envious. She is telling the son, then don't be envious. And then she is instructing the son, finally, that Atishta, just execute. Uktam, ki jo tumhari stepmother ne bola hai, whatever your stepmother said, just go and execute it. So when she heard the criticism, right, what she did not react, right? She did not react. Reaction means she did not say that how could your father did like this, right? You had a right, natural right to get the property of your father, right? She could have run to her husband. Okay, ठीक है, नहीं गोदी में बिठाने नहीं बिठाओ. अच्छा, आधा जिसको दो, आधा उसको दो, खत्म करो मामला. Right? That's a reaction. No, she did not react. And then, second thing, accept the fact. Accept the fact. As I said in the beginning, you contemplate. Right? When somebody is criticizing, thank you so much for the criticism. Contemplate. Is it a fact or opinion? Fact, I am going to accept it. Accept the fact. And then, move on. Move on means, advise the son. What was the advice? You don't keep anything in the heart about the person who is speaking harsh words against. Don't think ill fortune of the person who is criticizing you. And then, okay, what happens? Okay, ठीक है, I did not react. I am not criticizing the person who has criticized me. But still we continue to be envious. And how the envy nature will be reflected? When we don't follow the advice of that person. So वो यहाँ पर सुरुचि बोल रही है ना कि ध्रुव महाराज बोले कि ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, आई विल नॉट रिएक्ट, है ना, राइट, कि ठीक है मैं उसके बारे में बुरा नहीं सोचूंगा, है ना. तो कहती कि अच्छा भाई जो उन्होंने बोला जाके करो, है ना, राइट, वो नहीं करने का मेरे को ऐसा नहीं, दैट मीन्स यू आर एनवियस. वी मत्सरा, डोंट बी एनवियस, जस्ट डू व्हाट योर स्टेप मदर हैज सेड. And from the next couple of verses, 5 verses, we learn that whatever situation you may be, even after going through all this criticism and all, continue to preach and don't stop preaching. That's what we see in these 5 verses. This verse number 20 to 24, 8th chapter. So she did not react. She accepted the fact. She advised the son, instructed the son, and then she moved on. She started preaching. And now she is glorifying the Lord Krishna. She says, you just know it that your great grandfather, he was able to acquire this position like a Brahma because of the mercy of the Lord. And he continues to have this position again by the mercy of the Lord. And remember your grandfather, who is that? Manu Maharaj, right? Svayam Manu. That he has been able to perform so many sacrifices. And he has been able to achieve success in this material life. And he has got the liberation because of the mercy of the Lord. So interestingly, she gave the example of great-grandfather. Gave the example of grandfather. But did not talk about the father. Right? Why? Because, the criticism was not able to she was not overtaken by the criticism, and still she was on her senses, because उसको मालूम था कि अगर मैंने इसको अपने पिता के बारे में कुछ बोला फिर वो दोबारा गड़बड़ हो जाएगा सब, right? So see, so nicely she handled the situation, right? You just can't believe, तो ग्रेट फादर ब्रह्मा जी के बारे में बोला, स्वयंभू के बारे में बोला, पिताजी के बारे में नहीं बोला, right? She stopped there, and then she says, आश्रय भर्त्य वत्सलम, she says that take shelter of Lord Krishna, right? And worship him with ananya bhava. Ananya bhava means again, ananya bhava means just one pointed attention, and another meaning of bhava means clear all hard feelings against your stepbrother, your father, and your stepmother, and all. And she said, Nanya dukkha-chidam. I do not find anyone who can mitigate others' difficulties. I do not find anyone who can mitigate others' difficulties. Na anya dukkha chidam. There is nobody else who can mitigate others' difficulties. So here she was telling him that don't go to any demigod, don't take their shelter. Dukkha chidam, that you want to overcome the distress, nobody will be able to help you. That just now I mentioned to you about your great grandfather. Brahmaji, even he himself is seeking the favor of Lakshmi ji. So he is such a great personality. So, Prabhuji Mataji, what we discussed, that being faced with the criticism, we can do a number of things. First of all, thanks the person. Second, you do the introspection. Third, you tolerate it by contemplating on so many things what we discussed. Don't react the situation. Leave the place, approach the authority. Don't think ill fortune about the person who is criticized. And then keep moving on, right? Don't stop the movement. Right? We are in Krishna conscious movement. Right? We have to keep moving on. So the focus is on the Krishna, then preaching must go on. The criticism should not be able to overtake it. And there are other things, Prabhu, but the time, sorry, Prabhu. So the next, third part, that we will take in. So we will talk later. Okay, Prabhuji Mati. So thank you so much, Prabhu Mati, for your time. But any questions or comment quickly, Prabhu? Thank you. Yeah, just quickly, Prabhu. Any questions or comments?
You told that Vidura went to the forest and Dhruva Maharaj went to the authority. Right? But forest maybe you might have gone with some authority only to meet, right? What was that? Any authority and forest?
Yeah, probably the different situation, like, you are in a position, like Vidura was a very matured person, but Dhruva was not a matured person, he was just a boy. For him, he was not able to think of even going to the forest. He was overtaken by the insult. Because Prabhupada says somewhere, being a Kshatriya, he was right. And Vidura was also a Kshatriya. Right? Both were Kshatriya, but one was mature, other was not mature enough. So if you are mature enough where you can handle the situation, right? You handle it. And again, in case of Vidura, he went to the pilgrimage because he wanted to purify himself. And later on, he approaches Maitreya Muni, because he did not feel himself qualified to go and straight get the knowledge. That's my understanding, Prabhu. But
Krishna invented. Krishna was there.
Right?
Authority was there.
Yeah. He left authority and he wanted to go purify.
So Monday is Ekadashi.
Yeah.
And then the little fasting will remove because we are fasting for Ramadasi.
Okay.
Ramadasi program will be Rājasūya house. Please just remove this.
That's appearance day of Radha Madan. So it's a Monday, Tuesday, Prabhu? Tuesday, yeah.
So that is on Monday. You have to fast on Monday.
Fasting on Monday.
Honestly, no fasting. Ramadan is a special gift for us. No fasting for that Vishnu Tattva, no fasting. Next day, Bhakti will talk about
Yes,
No, Bhagavatam, Prabhu, this person who committed, yes. So, Prabhuji Mataji, yesterday in the hall program, we mentioned about the importance of reading Bhagavatam and gifting the Bhagavatam. So, again, J.K. Prabhu requesting, we all should know that it's very important, right? So, book distribution must keep going on and shouldn't stop. So yesterday number of people committed for Bhagavatam set. So we have about 17-18 devotees who have committed, right? So the devotees who have not contributed the money, they can contribute, and still you can think who else you can give the set of Bhagavatam. Just cost how much? 250-300 dirham, right? It's not a big amount. Very insignificant.
Last year we did 11.
Yeah.
We should at least double that.
Yeah, so we have now 17-18, right? And we can have easily 3-4 more, right? The things that from our own devotees itself, we should come forward and think we can gift them. Even if the person doesn't read, let the Bhagavatam go and stay in the house. Prabhupada says, I will pop out. And that's a fact. Prabhupada will pop out sometime, right? It won't go to the dustbin like newspapers. So you just think 250-300 dirham is a very insignificant money, what Krishna is giving us. Right, Prabhu? So please think, Prabhu, how can you talk to others about doing this seva? Thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande.